I want to talk to you about the cash advance apps for iOS this year. And so here's a list I want you to pay attention to. First, I want to talk to you about Vero. So Vero is a great cash advance app for iOS this year. And what we love about the Vero is that you're able to get loan amounts from $20 to $500, which is really a lot when it comes to a cash advance app. So $20 to $500, and the time to repay is actually pretty flexible too. Can you imagine you have 30 days? So Vero is giving you a 30 days to actually repay whatever cash advance you actually get through them. Now the fees actually go from $1.60 to $40 depending on the amount that you actually have borrowed through the app. So that's kind of cool. So what are the pros and cons of Vero as a cash advance app for iOS this year? So the pros first. Basically, you have no tips or subscription fees, no risk of overdraft fees. You have a highly rated mobile app on iOS, but also Android for that matter. And you have a guaranteed same day cash advance. So that's kind of cool. But remember, the amount we're speaking here about go from $20 to $500. And what are some of the minuses you need to be aware of? Well, you do have mixed customer service reviews. And this cash app requires an active Vero bank account because Vero also offers banking services, so something to really be aware of. And this service may take time to unlock up to $500. So overall, Vero as a cash advance app for iOS is a service that has a pretty straightforward set of I would say functionalities. Okay, and though you are required to have a Vero bank account, this means the money will be available to you instantly, and there is no risk of overdraft if you don't have enough money in your account for repayment. And Vero also requires that you have at least $800 in direct deposits this month or last to qualify. So this is something to really think about. And Vero also offers up to 30 days for repayment, longer than most other apps for iOS that we have actually investigated. However, you may not qualify for the maximum advance initially. You can unlock larger amounts as you repay smaller advances. So this is really great when you think about Vero as a cash advance app for iOS. If you're looking for the best cash advance apps for iOS, I want you to consider PayActive. And PayActive actually will advance you will give you up to $1,000 in loan amounts, and in terms of time to repay, you are actually given up until the next paycheck to repay whatever you are allowed to borrow. Okay, and the fees actually go from $0 to $3.49 depending on the disbursement type. Okay, now what are the pluses and minuses here? So the pluses, you have multiple free ways to access wages. You can access up to $1,000 if employer allows, no tips or subscription fees, and you have free instant funding with direct deposit. But the thing with PayActive is that it's only available through your employer. So if you're looking for a cash advance app for iOS that actually goes through your employer, you might want to think about PayActive. Okay, PayActive will be our top pick for ease, speed, cost, and loan amounts, especially when it comes to iOS. But you can only get earned wage access through PayActive if your employer is a partner. And borrowing limits are actually set by your employer as well. So you kind of have your employer being a part of the whole process here. But you could potentially borrow up to $1,000 if you have a direct deposit set up, and up to $500 if you don't. So this is kind of important to think about. And there are no tips. That's really what we love a lot. No tips or subscription fees, just express transfer fees. That means if you want your cash real fast. But there are also several ways to get your money at no cost, including ACH transfer and real-time transfers to a PayActive Visa card if you have direct deposit set up. You can even use your earned wages to pay for Uber rides, Amazon purchases, or to pay bills without any fees. So in terms of flexibility, you are really well served there. And repayment is deducted from your next paycheck. So you never have to worry about overdraft fees from using PayActive. So that's kind of cool. Now, if your employer doesn't currently partner with PayActive and you believe you would benefit from the service, you can try recommending PayActive to your human resources department. So talk to your HR and see if they actually there is some kind of willingness to actually partner with PayActive. But The loan amounts you're looking at up to $1,000. If you are looking for a cash advance app for iOS, I want you to think about MoneyLion. And with MoneyLion, you have the ability to have loan amounts from $10 up to $1,000. So $10 to $1,000. And the time to repay is actually your next paycheck. So they don't actually have to wait for 1 year or 30 days. No, no, your next paycheck. And there are some fees though. So you have a suggested tip plus up to 849 to 899 for express funding. So if you want your cash real fast, be ready to pay for it. It is part of the territory. And what are the pros and cons of this cash advance app for iOS? Well, the pros first, you have a high borrowing limits relative to the industry because think about it, you $1,000. There is no obligation to repay if you want to cancel. That's really good. You have 24/7 customer support, so we love that a lot. And you also have excellent customer reviews, so that's really fantastic. On the flip side, your individual limit may vary, and funding can actually take up to 5 business days. So something to really think about. But overall, when you think about MoneyLion as a cash advance app for iOS, this is actually an app that beats the industry when it comes to both customer reviews and borrowing limits. You may be eligible to get a cash advance up to $500 or up to $1,000 if you connect to your Roar Money account. However, you're likely unlock less to begin with. When you start, you can now have a 1,000 right away. And when MoneyLion sees recurring deposits in your linked checking account, your limit will increase, but your individual limit may still be less than $500. It really depends on establishing a history with MoneyLion, okay? And what's more, funding takes 2 to 5 business days if you are using a linked checking account, and a turbo delivery costs up to $8.99. And also a tip is suggested, but entirely optional. If you choose to cancel, there is no obligation to repay the advance, but you'll need to repay it if you want to access to cash advances in the future. And but MoneyLion has the highest Trustpilot rating of the companies that we investigated, and also offers a 24/7 customer support. So that's really good to really think about. If you're looking for the best cash advance apps for iOS, I want you to consider Dave. And Div is a great cash advance app for iOS, and loan amounts here are limited to $500, and the time to repay the next paycheck. And in terms of fees, you have a $1 subscription fee, you have a suggested tip, and you have $3 to $25 in terms of express funding. Okay, what are the pluses and minuses here? First of all, the pluses. You have limits up to $500. You have in-app side hustle opportunities. You have an app that offers a high-yield savings account, and there is no risk of overdraft. What about the cons here? Well, express funding can be expensive, so be very careful there. And the suggested tip is high, though optional, okay? So when you think about Dave as a cash advance app for iOS, think about an app that actually offers other ways to access instant cash beyond its extra cash feature, which offers up to $500 ahead of payday, depending on individual eligibility criteria. And the app also offers side hustle opportunities, including real-time payments for completing surveys. And since you earn actually the money, it doesn't need to be repaid. This gives Dave users more ways to get money when they need it. So that's kind of cool. And so you can get an ACH transfer that takes 1 to 3 business days free of charge, but there is actually still a suggested tip. However, that tip is entirely optional, as I said a little earlier, and will not impact your future eligibility. Repayment is automatic, but Dave will never overdraft a customer's account, so that's kind of cool. So you don't have to worry about any additional fees from your bank in the first place, okay? And by the way, if you want the cash real fast, in other words, if you're paying the fee, you get your cash less than an hour, okay? But what we love about Dave here is that you have the presence of a side hustle opportunity. So Dave is actually helping you earn more, like giving you suggestions to earn more money. So we love that a lot in terms of possibilities. That's a really great help. But the APR can really go as high as 78%, especially if you are including tips It can even go to 100%, by the way. If you're looking for the best cash advance apps for iOS, I want you to think about Earning. And Earning is a great app that you need to really think about. And in terms of, but the thing is that Earning is not really that generous because you can only get up to $100 per day and $700, so 750 rather, per pay period. So you have some kind of flexibility there. And the time to repay the next paycheck, okay? And in terms of fees, you have suggested tip plus express funding fee of $3.99. So but this fee can be $2.99 with direct deposit. What are the pros and cons of this service here when you think about Earning? Well, the pros first. The whole service can get set up and funded the same day, so that's kind of cool. The tipping process is entirely optional, and you can use your own bank account. So we love that a lot in terms of flexibility. That's really good. And you also have a free credit score monitoring process. What about the cons here? Well, you do have mixed customer reviews, and you may only access up to $100 per day. So with Earning as a cash advance app for iOS, you can access up to $100 of your earned wages on the same day you sign up. If you opt for lightning speed, typically that comes with a $3.99 fee for a a $100 cash out. But your first lightning speed transfer is free, and you won't need to actually set up a direct deposit account with Earning, but you will need to show proof of a consistent pay schedule. Some state restrictions apply, so everything depends on the state. It depends on the location where you're at. And Earning suggests a tip based on your withdrawal amounts, but tipping is entirely optional and doesn't affect your eligibility for future access. In terms of repayment, let's talk about that now. Repayment is really straightforward. It is actually automatic out of your next paycheck, and while it's rare that it will cause an overdraft fee, it can happen. However, in most cases, Earning supports can help you reimburse the fee. That said, Earning has mixed customer reviews on third-party websites like Trustpilot and Triple B. And the Earning app is highly rated though, and offers also a free credit score monitoring. So that's kind of cool, and especially when it comes to protecting your data. If you are looking for a cash advance app for iOS, I want you to think about Empower. And Empower actually is another great app to think about. And here you have loan amounts that go from $10 to $300, and the time to repay the next paycheck. And the fees actually top $8 per month plus express funding fees. So what are the pluses and minuses of Empower as a cash advance app for iOS? The pros first. There are no suggested tips or loan fees, so that's an important element to think about. You can use this app with any bank account, and the subscription actually includes other features, so we love that a lot. And what about the minuses here? The express funding can be expensive. It doesn't guarantee overdraft protection, and you do have mixed customer reviews actually. So we don't typically recommend cash advance apps for iOS with a subscription model, since you should make a habit of paying for cash advances, right? But the Empower app offers some other smart money features included with the $8 per month price, including, for instance, you have a credit monitoring, you have budgeting tools, and you also have an autosave feature that identifies when to save based on your spending patterns. So we love that aspect of things a lot. And there are no suggested tips either, but express funding can cost up to $8 for a $300 advance. So what we love here is that we love the flexibility that comes with the functionalities, okay? And funding without a fee can take up to 5 business days, but you don't need to open an account to use Empower. And the company just looks for consistent income when determining your eligibility. So something to really think about, especially when you are thinking about scalability. So when you think about Empower, look at amounts that go from $10 to $250 to $300. And but you do have an automatic account debit in terms of repayment. And so without fee, in terms of time to fund, without fee, 1 to 5 business days, with fee within 2 hours. So this could go pretty fast. In terms of additional services, you have credit card, autosave, budgeting tools, smart recommendations, and credit score monitoring. So something to think about. So the bottom line here is that in today's conversation, I spoke to you about the best cash advance apps for iOS. It's important to really understand that when you go for a cash advance app for iOS, you want to really look for a couple of things. You want to look for transparency in terms of fee schedules. You want to look for your ability to actually borrow a lot, right? Maximum $1,000. You also want to look for a cash advance app that allows you to set up a direct deposit, or even doesn't require a direct deposit. But one thing for sure, you do not want to pay a subscription fee, because you want to look for a cash advance app that allows you to go back to your budget a lot faster. Now, cash advance apps, don't get me wrong, are a much safer alternative to payday loans, which really comes with APRs of nearly 400% and often trap borrowers in a cycle of debt. And cash advance apps often protect you from overdraft fees and don't allow additional advances prior to repayment. But fees from suggested tips, subscription fees, and express funding fees can add up big time. So something to really think about. But one thing for sure, if you are looking for alternatives to cash advance apps for iOS, you can try a credit union payday alternative loans. You can try personal loans. You can try BNPL. So BNPL, we are speaking about the buy now, pay later apps also. And you also can think about the friends and family loans. You have a lot of flexibility there. And so it's one of those things where you have to ask yourself, what are your goals really? Okay. And what kind of goals are you looking for in terms of cash in and cash out? And one thing I want to say also is that when you're looking for the best cash advance apps for iOS, you got to ask yourself, how early do you want the cash? And and what is the repayment window that you have? Some cash advance apps for iOS want you to pay by the next paycheck, while some will give you up to 30 days. It all depends on what you're looking for. It also depends on the amount of like the type of flexibility you want throughout the whole process. So this is really important to think about that. So you also got to look at the APR, the effective APR that you are paying through the app. So that's really is an important element also. So in closing, in today's conversation, I'll share with you the best cash advance apps for iOS. So I'll give you the list, the bottom line, and now the closing arguments. In terms of the list, we have Varo, you have PayActive, you have MoneyLion, you have Dave, you have Earning, and you have Empower. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.